Okay, so what if everything you think you know about business is just flat out wrong? What if competition is actually bad and being first to market is a terrible idea? Today, we are cracking open Peter Thiel's 0 to 1, and trust me, this book doesn't just challenge the rules, it throws the whole rulebook out the window. Get ready. So let's start with a question. I want you to really think about this for a second. What important truth do you believe that almost nobody else agrees with you on? This single question, this is the entire heart of Peter Thiel's philosophy, because he believes the answer to that question is where the future is hiding. You see, 0 to 1 isn't really a how-to guide. It's more like a guide on how to think. Thiel's big, controversial idea is that for all our cool gadgets, we're actually in a period of, technological slowdown. And this book is basically his wake-up call for all of us to start building truly new things again. So Thiel breaks progress down into two types. First up is vertical progress. This is what he calls 0 to 1. This is the magic. It's creation. Going from, nothing to something. Imagine a world with just handwriting. And then boom, the first typewriter shows up. That is technology. And then you've got horizontal progress. He calls this 1 to N. This is basically just copying stuff that already works. Taking an idea that's successful in one country and just rolling it out in another. It's progress, yeah, but it's not invention. It's what he calls globalization. Okay, so the big question is, how do we actually find that breakthrough 0 to 1 idea? Well, according to Thiel, before you can build something new, you've got to tear down the old stuff. And step one is unlearning some of the biggest myths that modern business is built on. All right, let's jump into the first and honestly the biggest myth. We're taught from day one, right? Competition is good, it's healthy, it's the engine of capitalism. But Thiel just walks in and asks a really uncomfortable question. What if that's all a total lie? I mean, the standard playbook they teach you in business school is that perfect competition is the dream. The goal is to find a gigantic market and then just, fight to the death for a tiny slice of the pie. Thiel's view? Competition is for losers. Yeah, he actually says that. Because when you're in a super competitive market, your profits basically disappear. You're just fighting to survive. But a monopoly? That's where the magic is. A company that is so good and so unique at what it does that nobody can touch it. And when you have that, you have profit. And that profit gives you the freedom to think long-term, to treat your people right, to actually try and build a better future. I mean, just think about Google. Be honest. How many other search engines did you even think about using today? Probably zero. They have a monopoly on search. And because of that, they're not stuck in a daily street fight. They can focus on those crazy moonshot projects. They don't just compete in the market. For all intents and purposes, they are the market. And this all leads to one of the most famous lines from the book. All happy companies are different. Why are they happy? Well, they're happy because they're different. They solved a unique problem that no one else was solving, and by doing that, they escaped the brutal, soul-crushing race to the bottom that is competition. Okay, let's move on to myth number 2, the first mover advantage. This is like the biggest cliche in the startup world. Be the first. Plant your flag. The first one there wins the prize. But Thiel looks at that and asks, are you sure about that? What if being first is actually a trap? We are just obsessed with this story, right? The brilliant founder who gets there first, beats everyone to the punch, and just dominates. It's a great narrative, but is it actually how things work? So Thiel just flips this entire idea on its head. He calls it the last mover advantage. And this is a wild one. The goal isn't to be first. The goal is to be the last major player in a category. It's about building something so good, so dominant, that you become the final word on that market for years, maybe decades. Let that sink in. The goal is not to be first. The goal is to be last. This changes everything. It means business isn't a 100-yard dash. It's a grandmaster level chess match where you're planning for checkmate from your very first move. And the chess analogy is perfect, isn't it? Amateurs, they obsess over their opening moves. But the best players in the world, they win because they have mastered the end game. A great business, Thiel says, is designed from day one with that dominant, unshakable end game in mind. You have to see the whole board. And that brings us to our final myth to bust, the cults of the big idea. We love that story, right? The lone genius has a eureka moment in the shower.
But Thiel has a really stark warning. Even the most brilliant idea in the world is completely worthless if it's built on a shaky foundation.
He's so serious about this that he calls it Thiel's Law. A startup messed up at its foundation cannot be fixed. I mean, just think about that. It doesn't matter how great your product is. If those first crucial decisions, who you partner with, how you structure things, what your mission is, if those are wrong, you're building a skyscraper on sand. You're pretty much done before you even start.
So what does a strong foundation actually look like? Well, he boils it down to 3 key things. 1, the founding team. Those first relationships are absolutely everything. 2, everyone has their own lane. Each person owns one specific thing. No confusion, no overlap. And 3, it's all about the mission. You don't get the best people with ping pong tables, you get them with a compelling mission they can believe in.
Okay, so we've torn down these huge myths. Competition isn't the goal, being first isn't the prize, and an idea alone isn't enough. So, where do we go from here? Let's put all the pieces together. What's the real path to finding your 0 to 1?
Luck. If you take away just one thing, let it be this. The goal isn't to be a little bit better than your competitor. It's not about being the first one to launch a product. And it's not just about having one clever thought. All of those paths lead right back to the crowded, bloody world of 1 to N, the world of sameness. The real goal, the only goal that truly matters if you want to build something that lasts, is to create something fundamentally new. To build your own monopoly by solving a unique problem. To go from 0 to 1. And that brings us right back to where we started. It's not just about thinking of a contrarian truth, it's about having the courage to build it. So forget the competition, forget the noise. The only question left is the one that really matters. What new thing is the world waiting for you to build?